Hello and welcome. I'm so excited that you're here today. I know some of you are watching this live while others are watching it recorded. Doesn't matter. I'm super excited that you're here to get this information. Now, the information I am going to be giving you is really good. So try to really get rid of distractions. Turn that TV off, turn off the radio, go into another room if you need to, grab a pen and some paper so you can write some notes. This way you get all the information and don't have to watch it more than once, which is always good. We'll go ahead and begin. My name is Dr. Maria Morrison. I'm an audiologist at Geneva Hearing Services. Now let me go ahead and go into some detail about who Geneva Hearing Services is. We are an independent private practice located in downtown Geneva. We provide lots of services. We do obviously hearing tests and hearing aid sales, but we also do home visits, tinnitus treatment, custom hearing protection, industrial audiology. So if you work in noise, we come in and help protect your hearing. We have a large array of services that we offer. We truly are an independent practice, meaning our providers, we're not contracted with any one manufacturer, so our providers really get to pick and choose the correct treatment process for each individual patient. We truly want to ensure that our patients are hearing at their very best, so it allows them to really engage and communicate to the people that are most important to them. Okay, so that's about the office. So let me give you some information about myself. Again, my name is Dr. Maria Morrison. I'm an audiologist at Geneva Hearing Services. I wasn't always going to be an audiologist. In fact, I originally went to college to be a speech language pathologist. In case you haven't noticed, you will very shortly. I love to talk. And so I thought, well, since I love to talk, I'm going to help other people talk. And so I went to school to be an SLP. Now, I went to Illinois State University. That's where I got my bachelor's and my master's degree in audiology. But while I was at ISU, I would come home on holiday breaks, of course, just like any other college student. And I very much remember a Christmas break that I was home, and I was at a large family gathering. My mom has something like 10 brothers and sisters. I have lots of aunts and uncles and cousins, and so you can imagine it really is a large family gathering. My Jaja, my grandpa, was this loud, proud Polish man. And typically at a Christmas party, he would be the one in this like obnoxious Christmas-like sweater vest, walking around with a bottle of vodka, getting my aunts and uncles and sometimes cousins to take shots of the vodka. But at this Christmas gathering, he wasn't. He was on the couch, sometimes talking to people, sometimes not. But I noticed that he was not responding correctly to what people were saying. And so, remember, I was young and naive, and I really thought he was experiencing some cognitive decline. That's what I had thought. So, talked to my mom about it, went back to college. Fast forward, I come home for spring break, and there's my Jaja, just his usual self, back to his antics, his personality is back. And what was the difference? He had gotten hearing aids. I had no idea the impact hearing loss could have on a person. But more importantly, the improvement hearing aids could give a person's quality of life. And seeing that transformation, I went back to school and I changed my major right away, right? Who wouldn't? So I switched from being a SLP to being an audiologist, and I'm so glad. I love what I do each and every day. I'm so incredibly fortunate. Now, why are you here? You are here to learn strategies on how you can hear better without hearing aids. But why wouldn't you want hearing aids? I'm just kidding. I totally get that. I totally understand. My husband does not. So I was creating this seminar at home with the PowerPoints, and he asked, why wouldn't someone want to get hearing aids? And I explained to him, I'm kind of like the dentist, right? People don't want to go to the dentist. They don't look forward to going to the dentist. They only go when they absolutely have to, and it's kind of like being an audiologist. People don't usually look forward to going the first time. until there's enough pain in their life, the strategies, whatnot, having to say what is getting frustrated enough, that's what kind of makes them come in. Unfortunately, people have these misconceptions about hearing aids that, they're too expensive or they won't work or they'll make them look old. I think not wearing a hearing aid makes someone look old. When you have to say what a bunch of times or when you start withdrawing from conversations, I think that is what makes you look old. But I also have had the experience of seeing firsthand over and over and over again what it's like to wear hearing aids. And patients wish they would have done it sooner, right? They wish they would have improved their quality of life sooner by getting these instruments that allow them to engage and communicate more easily. But it's important to understand, better hearing, it's not like glasses. With glasses, you go to the optometrist, they test your eyes, they give you a prescription in your lenses, you put the glasses on and you see clear right away. It's like instant. And unfortunately, better hearing doesn't work that way. When you have a hearing loss, you're stimulating a damaged nerve. And so if you think of when you have a cast on your arm, when you're wearing that cast, the muscle of the arm, it begins to weaken and atrophy, right? So when you take the cast off, you can't lift 50 pounds right away because the arm is weakened. You go in for physical therapy, you slowly lift the lower weights, and then you work your way up to the heavier weights and you build that muscle up. Better hearing is very similar to that. When you have a hearing loss and it's not being corrected with hearing aids, so you're going years without stimulating your brain with sound. Well, what's happening to your brain is the brain tissue is actually atrophying, it's withering away. It's losing its ability to interpret what the ears are sending it. And so when you get a hearing aid, if we were to set the hearing aid where it needs to be right away, it would be way overwhelming. Your brain would not be able to process all that sound that it hasn't been hearing. And so very similar to the physical therapy for your arm, when you get a hearing aid, we started off softer and then we slowly increase that volume over time, allowing your brain to acclimate and get used to hearing those sounds it hasn't heard in a while. So it's much more of a rehabilitative process. Now, I realize I've completely gone off on a tangent, and I do apologize. Thank you for sticking with me. You are here to find out how you can hear better today without hearing aids, and I've got some great strategies for you. So let's go ahead and begin with strategy 1, which is background noise. So if you're like most people, you have difficulties hearing in background noise. When we're younger, our brain does this amazing thing of filtering that noise and focusing on what we want to hear. And unfortunately, as we get older, our brain has a difficult time doing that. So when we're in a noisy environment, we're kind of leaning in, we're turning an ear, we're really trying to focus on the person's lips and figure out what's being said because our brain is having a hard time of filtering and focusing. My mom is a great example of this. Lydia, if you've ever been to the office, you would have met her. She used to work for us. She cannot hear in background noise. Now, she's in her early 60s. Let's not mention that I gave her age away. She's in her early 60s. She has difficulties hearing in background noise. So when we're at my house with the kids in the living room, she hears great. But when we go out to dinner, think of like Egg Harbor Cafe or Buffalo Wild Wings, she has a really difficult time understanding. She's leaning in, she's saying what, and being that her daughter's an audiologist, of course, I have checked her hearing several times, and it's not her ears. It's her brain's ability to filter that noise and focus, which has declined due to her age. So what can we do? There are strategies that you can do to help with that, which is really controlling what you can control, reducing the background noise when you can. So for example, if you and a partner are watching TV and the partner wants to have a quick conversation, mute or pause the TV. Because when they're talking and the TV's on, you're asking your brain now to focus or ignore something, which it may be having difficulty doing. So simply pause or mute the TV so you can have that conversation more easily. If the phone rings, let's say you're in the kitchen with the dishwasher running and there's that background noise, you can take the phone call in another in another room to get rid of that background noise. If you're having a family gathering and there's a lot of people at the house and someone's trying to have a conversation and you're maybe in the kitchen where everybody kind of gathers to talk, maybe suggest going outside or going into a room that's a little bit quieter so that you can enjoy that conversation a little more. Okay, those are things that you can do right now to help you hear better when you're in background noise. So let's talk about tip number 2. Tip number 2 is don't say what. That's right, you heard me, never say what. If you say it enough times, if you say what enough times, the person you're talking to is going to start getting really frustrated, right? They're going to think maybe you don't care to listen to what they have to say, or you're not paying attention, or whatever. They're going to create a story in their head as to why you're having to say what all the time. So instead of saying what, try to repeat what you did here. So for example, if someone says, oh shoot, I'm out of sugar, I need to go to the store, and all you heard was sugar and store, you can say, wait, you're going to the store? Do you need sugar? Is that what you said? By repeating what you did here, it's going to allow the person you're communicating with to know that you were listening, you were trying, right? You're making an effort. And then it's also going to hopefully prompt them to rephrase versus repeating. Repeating is not a good communication strategy. We want to rephrase. So let me give you this example. So, Susan, do you want to go to the store today? What? Do you want to go to the store today? What? Do you want to go to the store today? Right? Like, that's not good communication strategies. So instead, Susan, do you want to go to the store today? What did you say about going to the store? I'm going to the store. I was wondering if you wanted to come with. Oh, no, I'm okay. I don't want to go to the store. But you see how that was a little different? By repeating what you did here, it's going to, one, let them know that you were listening and hopefully prompt them to rephrase it. So that was tip number 2. Let's go on to tip number 3. So tip number 3 is really about assisted devices. There are devices out there that are not hearing aids that can help you hear better. So for example, the TV. If you're having to turn the TV up, but maybe the partners in your living room don't like it so loud, you can get TV ears that'll take the TV sound and stream it wirelessly to some headphones. It's an easy way to hear better on the TV. Maybe you're having difficulties on a landline phone. So if you're having difficulties on a landline phone, you could get a caption phone so you can read at the same time of listening. That's a good strategy. Maybe you're using a cell phone and you're having difficulties on the cell phone. Well, in that case, I would recommend getting earbuds. So when you think about when we're having communication in person versus when we're having it on the phone, there's 2 big differences. One is in person, we're getting visual cues. Now, I don't know if you've noticed with COVID and everyone wearing masks, we all use a little bit of visual cues to understand what's being said. And when you're on the phone, you don't get the visual cues, right? But in addition, when you're talking in person, both ears are picking up that sound. And when you're on the phone, you're only getting one ear. Our brain was built to interpret speech from both sides of the head to understand what's being said. And so when you're on the phone, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So if you're using a cell phone, you could put it on speakerphone, or you can get some earbuds so that you'll hear it in both ears. So those are just some easy devices that you can pick up that are relatively inexpensive to help you hear better in a few situations. Tip number 4 is get healthy. Remember, our ears simply pick up the sound and it's our brain that has to interpret it. So anytime we can do exercises for our brain to learn how to focus better is going to be a good thing when we're in conversations. So the first thing you can do is go for a walk, go for a walk in the woods or on a beach and take note, like literally write down all the things that you hear. And you want to write down as many things as you can. This is really going to help train your brain to focus on sounds. So maybe it's birds chirping or the waves crashing or wind blowing through the leaves or people walking on the gravel. Whatever it is, you really want to write down everything that you hear. Another activity you can do is have a partner read to you. Now, you want them to read something that you're not familiar with, right? So grab like an old textbook or an old magazine or something that's not going to be easily for you to guess, and have them read it to you. And then you have to repeat back word for word what was being said. And if that's getting easy, you can level up and add some background noise. You can listen to the TV and repeat back what you hear on the TV, or again, add some background noise and have them read you passages with background noise. Those types of exercises are going to really help your brain learn to focus better, which is always going to help you communicate more easily. Now, tip number 5 is, of course, pass the vitamins. There are several vitamins and minerals that are linked to improved ear function and better hearing. And I've listed some few here, but always, of course, talk to your physician, maybe get some blood work done to see if you're deficient in any of these vitamins, to see if you need to start taking them or taking more of them. My bonus tip is to skip the smokes. So I don't think smokers need a reason to stop smoking with all the research that's out there, but if they do, here's one more reason to stop smoking. Research indicates that smoking can more than double your chances of hearing loss. Double! That's crazy. So believe it or not, your ear needs good blood flow and oxygen to stay healthy. And unfortunately, when you smoke, that nicotine and that carbon monoxide decreases both of those to your ear, which can impair your ear's ability to thrive. Smoking also irritates the lining of the middle ear system and makes it difficult for the eustachian tube to function. So it's really important that if you're smoking, you really try to stop. Here's yet another reason that you should not smoke. Now, what if you're not the only one having difficulty hearing? Maybe you and your communication partner are both struggling to hear. I want to give you some strategies that you can use talking to someone who's having difficulty hearing. So the first tip I call touch communication. When you're wanting to speak to someone who maybe is doing something or, in another room, go into the room, touch them on the arm or the shoulder. It's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to get their attention so that they know to be listening to you. It's going to get them to turn towards you so that your voice is directed at their ears. It's going to reduce the distance between the two of you and hopefully overcome any background noise that might be in the way. So touch communication is an easy strategy that you can use with someone who has difficulty hearing. My second and favorite is the acronym BALL. Before you speak, ask the listener to look and listen. We want you to communicate in the same way that you would throw a ball to someone who you want to catch it, right? We're going to throw it slowly in their direction and in the same room, because we certainly don't want that ball to be bouncing around or trying to go through walls. So when communicating with someone, again, be in the same room with them, look at them, make sure they're looking at you, and don't talk super fast. I talked about the brain earlier, and one of the most common things that I will hear from my older patients is everybody seems to mumble, right? Even my Jaja said that. They may not actually be mumbling. They may be talking so fast that your brain is unable to interpret what's being said and it sounds like they're mumbling. So an example would be, I'm so excited, we're going to the zoo today. My kids love the lions and I can't wait to go. That was really fast. And someone who maybe has some processing difficulties is going to have a hard time keeping up with what I said. So instead, I can simply say, I'm so excited to go to the zoo today. My kids love the lions and we're going to have a great time. So I didn't talk louder, I simply talked slower. And by talking slower, you can really help the other person understand what you're saying. So there you have it. There are some great tips, both things that you can do to help yourself hear better and things you can do to help somebody else hear better. Because remember, communication is a two-way street. I hope you found this helpful and informational. I hope everyone's having a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.